Did you know that Lightning McQueen is not his real name? What is his true past? How many Piston Cups does McQueen have in his career? And why was he so difficult to make friends with? The full story of Lightning McQueen is very good and starts now. You are on the Cine Lovers channel, your channel for cinema, movies, and animations. In McQueen's childhood, he was a very calm, dreamy guy and made friends easily. And of course, he was always passionate about racing. The racer he admired the most was named Hudson Hornet, the same car that would become his coach in the future, known as Doc Hudson. McQueen watched all the races and dreamed of one day being as good and as recognized as Doc Hudson was. Well, in his childhood and early teenage years, McQueen used his full real name, and he was called Montgomery McQueen. Yes, Montgomery is his real name. This is mentioned in the book Struck by Lightning. You didn't expect that, did you? Just that is worth your like. If you were surprised by McQueen's name, then leave your like. With the dream of becoming a great racer, Monty McQueen joined the Fast Track Race Academy, the place where he studied and trained to be a racer. McQueen kept training, and each day he got better and more prepared to continue in this profession. At this academy, he had a best friend, a guy he liked a lot, named Carl. They studied together and participated in the training sessions together. And at the end of each semester, there was a race among the students to see how they were actually performing. And in one specific year, the winner of the end of semester race would win a sponsorship. So, everyone was very excited, and McQueen was super confident, as always. But during this race, something happened that would change some things for McQueen. Well, his best friend Carl betrayed him and harmed our dear McQueen. The guy did this so that obviously McQueen wouldn't win and he himself could get the sponsorship. Wow, and this type of betrayal by his best friend left him quite upset, and from that moment on, he decided not to get close to anyone anymore, not to make any more friendships, and he also promised himself not to trust cars as he did before. And then, McQueen got even more intense. He continued training hard to prove to himself and to everyone how good he was, and studied and trained day and night without stopping. All these facts are also from the book Struck by Lightning, an original and official Disney and Pixar book. Montgomery McQueen kept training, time passed, and then there was another race at the Race Academy. And do you know what happened? He won the race, and not only that, he broke the all-time record at the Academy, becoming the fastest car there. How cool is that? And there's more. Thanks to this speed and the record he broke, he earned the nickname Lightning, becoming known as Lightning McQueen. How awesome is that? As for his envious friend, Carl, nobody ever heard from him again. So, he proved to himself and everyone how good he was, and this started to make Lightning McQueen more famous. Then, his classmates from the academy wanted to team up with him, be close friends, but McQueen said, No, I'm good alone. He wasn't keen on going through another disappointment. Now, the legend of Lightning McQueen was born, and he received a sponsorship offer from Smell Swell Deodorizer, a deodorant company. They stayed together for a while, but McQueen started complaining about Snyder, the truck that transported him from place to place. Snyder wasn't driving very well. So, there were some fights between Lightning and Smell Swell, and the company owner fired McQueen. It might seem like a sad moment in his life, but it wasn't. A guy overheard the conversation between the company owner and McQueen. Do you know who this guy was? His name is Mac, the truck you surely know. Mac approached McQueen and invited him to go together to Boston, where Mac would introduce McQueen to a new sponsor called Rust-eze, a company that made bumper ointment owned by the brothers Rusty and Dusty Rust-eze. They were introduced to McQueen, liked him right away, and agreed to sponsor him. Mac did a fantastic job with this. Well, then let's go to the first Piston Cup that McQueen participates in. As always, he's confident, thinking he's the best without a shred of humility. The race happens, and during it, several times the racers change their tires and refuel, but because McQueen is stubborn, he only wants to refuel and doesn't change his tires. Because of this, he ends up tying his first Piston Cup with the King Strip Weathers and Chick Hicks. If he had listened to others more, he would have been the first rookie to win the Piston Cup. But no! Then there was going to be a new race between the three to break the tie, and whoever won would get a contract with Dinoco, which was McQueen's dream. So off he went with his friend Mac the truck, heading to California for this second second race. On the way, Mac falls asleep and lets Lightning escape from the truck. Poor McQueen, now he was a lost race car. Soon after, he desperately runs around looking for Mac, but what he finds is a police officer chasing him. And what happens next? You know, right? McQueen accidentally finds the town of Radiator Springs and destroys it completely, especially the street asphalt. Immediately afterward, McQueen is arrested and goes to court. There he meets all the town's residents who are super mad at him, except for Mater, and he falls in love at first sight when he sees Sally. If you made it this far, comment #McQueen. Afterward, she makes a speech that ruins McQueen's plans and puts him to repave the town, and he could only leave when he finished. During all this, Doc Hudson bets on a race with McQueen, but Hudson is very smart and knew McQueen wouldn't win because he couldn't make the turn correctly. Lightning McQueen was very upset about not being able to make the turn correctly, and he and Doc Hudson started to bond more. Not just Hudson, but after he started to make the road nice and neat, Mater, Sally, everyone began to get closer to him. One of the most incredible moments for McQueen was discovering that Doc Hudson was the fabulous Hudson Hornet and that he was a 3-time Piston Cup champion in the 50s. McQueen hadn't recognized that the guy he was such a fan of was right in front of him. Then Mac and the paparazzi find McQueen and take him to the race. When he gets there, he has a big surprise. Doc Hudson becomes his crew chief and even gives him a complete team. To me, one of the most emotional races was this one. McQueen was going to win. It was going to be his first Piston Cup, but after everything he went through in Radiator Springs and everything he learned, he did what was right. McQueen stopped at the finish line and helped the King finish his last race. That was just beautiful. Even though he didn't finish first, thanks to the decision he made, McQueen was invited to be the new face of Dinoco, but he didn't accept because he was happy with Rusty's and his new team. It's something he wouldn't have done a week ago. He truly changed. Radiator Springs did wonders for our Lightning. It put the town back on the map. He also gained a Rusty best friend. And remember how he didn't like Rusty cars at all? Yeah, he changed for the better. Time passed, and McQueen had already won 4 Piston Cups. Then, at the peak of his career, McQueen was invited to participate in the World Grand Prix, a race divided into 3 parts: Tokyo, Italy, and England. Well, a lot happened in that race. McQueen and Mater argued, and engines of several cars were exploding, but they couldn't get to McQueen. The race caused so much confusion that they had to continue it in Radiator Springs. McQueen continued his career, but he was getting older, and the new cars coming in were faster than him. Many people wanted him to retire and sell his miniatures and merchandise. McQueen didn't want to hear it. He only thought about continuing to race and win. But since he didn't know when to stop, McQueen had an accident worse than Doc Hudson's. After 4 months recovering in Radiator Springs and seeing many of his racing colleagues retire, McQueen looked for a new alternative, something that could help him race as fast as he used to and not fall behind the new generation of racers, and most importantly, to beat Jackson Storm. McQueen was sent to the Rusty's Training Center for Racers, a high-tech place where he would learn various modern techniques. There he meets Cruz Ramirez, who tries to train him and teach him calmly, but McQueen doesn't want to hear it, thinking he knows everything, and goes on the simulator alone, which doesn't go well for him. The two start to understand each other later and continue training hard. Meanwhile, several cars try to convince McQueen to retire, but he wants to keep racing more and more. With so much confidence and determination, McQueen and Cruz Ramirez end up at Thunder Hollow, a demolition derby, which was crazy. They had a lot of fun, but McQueen was recognized, which wasn't good for his image. Still eager to keep racing, McQueen goes to Smokey, the car who was Doc Hudson's friend and mentor. There's nothing better than talking to and getting tips from the mentor of the greatest racer of all time. They train a lot there until the last minute, but McQueen didn't do as well in the training as he expected. And then they go to the race, which would be very decisive for his career. McQueen started last and gained many positions. He's just that good. But then McQueen makes another heroic move, showing just how good-hearted he is. He remembered that Cruz never had an opportunity to race professionally and that she was very good and fast. So, he swapped places with her, letting her race in his place and finish the race. Not everyone would make such a decision. He ends up becoming her coach, the mentor to Cruz Ramirez. Cruz Ramirez wins the race, and everyone goes wild. McQueen said he still isn't going to stop racing. Right after Cruz's victory, McQueen got a new paint job as a tribute to Doc Hudson. Lightning McQueen won the Piston Cup 7 times throughout his career and realized that there are things in life much better and more enjoyable than just winning a race and taking a trophy home. He discovered that friendship, humility, solidarity, and respect can transform everything for the better. Now you can click on this video and check out the scariest deleted scenes from Cars, or discover some dark secrets of Gravity Falls. Thank you so much for sticking around until the end. We'll see you in the next Cine Lovers.